Are the modern doctors and scientists taking up the role of God? What that would mean ethically, morally, and otherwise to the entire human community. Pondering about these, I had wrote an article in the Statesman in October 2000. This podcast is about that article. If you're interested in these sort of topics, please listen to the end. My heart bleeds for the family, proclaimed a judge of an English court after he turned down the appeal by the parents of conjoined twins Jody and Mary to disallow their separation by surgery. That he placed the capability of doctors over that of God shattered the religious beliefs of the devout Roman Catholic parents. Jody and Mary were born joined at the lower end, and as Jody didn't have a vital organ, she was totally dependent on her sister for survival. But as they would grow older, Mary wouldn't be able to support the two of them, and thus both would suffer a premature death. But if they were surgically separated, Jody would die on the operating table, with her sister would have while her sister would have a reasonable chance of surviving. Surgeons in Manchester wanted to perform the operation so that they could at least save Mary and had to, in the process, go to court to obtain permission since the parents refused to comply. The parents believed it was God's will to bring about such a birth, and if Jody and Mary were to die, well, then destiny had to be respected. While in the UK, I came across many couples who wouldn't accept abortion, saying their child was a gift of God to be looked after, even if they were forewarned it might be a mental retard. In the medieval period, the conflict was between the powers of the king and the church. In this modern age, daggers are drawn between science and religion, and capricious divinity seems to be losing fast. Over the centuries, humankind has sought to improve the race, however crude and the manipulations been. Hitler wanted to eradicate the Jews through gas chambers because his racist mind regarded them as inferior. He dreamed of a world ruled by pure master race of physical, mental, and aesthetic brilliance. Fortunately, he failed. Then followed the idea of convincing individuals with unique talents to marry so that society could benefit from their offspring, hopefully born with the qualities of both parents. In which regard, the case of George Bernard Shaw springs to mind. Shaw once received an invitation for matrimonial alliance from an actress of enchanting beauty. She dreamed of children with her looks and his intellectual capabilities. But Shaw was forthright. That is probability A, my dear, but you have forgotten probability B, which will lead to our children having my looks and your intelligence. Surely that would be nothing less than a natural calamity. On the very threshold of this new millennium, scientists have achieved something stupendous. They have successfully mapped the human genome. Genes are the bearers of the dualities we possess, and it is postulated that these chemicals are behind our drive to reproduce. Genes, in fact, are immortal, being transferred from generations to generations. Now, as we recognize the individual genes, we would soon have the power to alter these as per our wish. Another major victory over omnipotent divinity. Admittedly, this achievement will have far reaching implications in the medical field, and who knows, we could be able to create a Rabindranath Tagore with the athletic prowess of a Morris Green, or even a Frankenstein if someone with enough funds and technical expertise decides to do so. Another field of medicine which has seen unprecedented advancement is embryology. Relentless research in the field has taught us how to preserve sperm, eggs, and even human embryos for years to come. It's not surprising to see now eggs being sold through the internet, and if you are rich enough, you could buy from some beautiful intellectual woman following the strict legal guidelines such transactions demand. Years ago, the body of a 5,000 years old person was discovered in the Rockies, naturally cryopreserved by the ice at that height. As news of this discovery spread, a group of women expressed the desire to conceive a child from the sperm of that snowman. However incredulous this whim might have been from the technical point of view, it might have been possible provided there was a single viable sperm in the body. Sometimes, in the process of treating an infertile couple, several embryos are frozen and stored for future use. Decisions regarding the fate of remaining frozen embryos, such a potential human being, remains a burning ethical issue once the couple in question has started a family. This problem was highlighted when an American couple sued each other for the possession of the frozen embryos once they had divorced. The woman wanted the minuscule chemical beings destroyed, whereas the man wanted them preserved. If you like my these kind of stories, please subscribe my channel and then listen to this rest of the amazing developments of science and technology. The amazing utilization of stored embryo recently occurred in the UK. A girl suffering from an incurable disease needed repeated blood transfusions to keep her alive. Doctors created a few embryos from the sperm and eggs of her parents and then, by genetic analysis, found which of these wouldn't have the disease and the girl was suffering from. This particular embryo was implanted in the mother's womb and a baby born in due case, the idea being that this new arrival would be able to provide bone marrow grafting, curing his sister from the crippling disease. But whichever way you look at it, creating an individual to save another is a frightening concept. As a byproduct of this research, cloning became a reality when Dolly the sheep became a reality in the UK, derived from the cells taken from a 6-year-old Finn Dorset ewe that was cultured in the lab. The successful creations of Dolly underline the fact that human cloning was no longer an impossible concept. I have written actually a book on human cloning, a science fiction sort of thing, the Noah, which is available in Flipkart and Amazon. Though we may not mind cloning 11 Sachin Tendulkars to save the Indian cricket team from the doldrums, the production of a series of identical individuals is no less an extremely discomforting thought. On the other hand, the technology has fantastic application in the field of organ transplantation. Stopping short of creation the entire human being, tissues or organs can be created from the special cells of a patient who has a non-functioning apparatus. Now they are making it from placental tissues and the umbilical cord. Then the tissue or the organ can successfully replace the faulty one without fear of rejection, thereby overcoming the major obstacle of transplantation technology. At present, all developed countries have stringent laws regarding the handling and development of human embryos, and human cloning is banned. But laws are only created to be broken, and moreover, technologies are advancing at such a pace, unbelievable pace, as to confuse the human mind from grasping the ethical and social implications, thus affecting the enforcement of binding laws. And this is only the beginning. Unless humankind is rendered extinct through a nuclear holocaust or a celestial accident, it will continue to score victories in the Almighty's creative kingdom. Scientists, driven by irresistible urge to discover whether to satisfy their egos or to help the human species, will continue to obtain outstanding achievements, caring little for the maturity of human psyche. Even if the theorized experiments a handful of scientists and officials in the USA are doing on human tissues, as depicted in the international popular television series The X-Files, lacks credibility, the danger lurks somewhere. In the last century, we saw a nuclear bomb technology being handed over to the Russians by an American scientist for free because he believed in communism. There is no guarantee sensitive information can be diverged for money if not for ideology. Nature slowly and painstakingly modified the huge genetic bank over millions of years in a process known as evolution. There were innumerable permutations and combinations, and those that successfully adapted to the changing environment were deemed to be fittest. But medical genetic engineering will have the ability to bridge the gap of million years within a single lifetime, keeping many alive who might have earlier been condemned by Mother Nature. But we don't have power over the general environment and the rate of genetic chance, therefore, will overrun the environmental changes with unknown outrun the environmental changes with unknown consequences. Moreover, an over ambitious racist like Hitler may have wanted to create a super race in his playing with the building blocks of life, and there is no gainsaying someone somewhere will start human cloning. You may have the argument ordering designer babies. You may have the affluence actually who can order designer babies to suit their purposes. These might be negative reflections, but the rise of intolerance, terrorism, and the nuclear race the world over could bind our thoughts into rendering us cynical. On the other hand, powers ascribed to God are shrinking. Modern physicists are now asking serious questions about the presence or even the necessity of God. Humans have opened the treasure house of microscopic genes buried deep inside billions of cells and are influencing the very doctrine of life and death by curing what was once considered incurable, often negating God's will. Philosophers suggest God be presented as an omnipresent, universal consciousness. This could save the Creator much humiliation. Then again, we humans may be nothing more than some primitive species of ape who suddenly acquired the ability to light a fire. And God, with wisdom beyond our grasp, watches us intently to see whether we cook a meal over the flames or burn ourselves in the conflagration.